Well, here we are. The channel's about to end, and everything is officially coming to a close tomorrow. So, I figured we might as well show you everything on Volver that never saw the light of day. Today, we're going to be talking about albums, canceled lore, scrap channel events, takeovers, and pretty much anything else that got removed or revised. But first, let's talk about something that almost didn't see completion: Puff's Tale. Take it away.
As one of the first big jokes on the channel, Puff's Tale has had a bit of history with cancelled lore and initially never getting finished. The fake game had its own server at some point in 2017 exclusively for working on it. The server didn't end up getting used much and got deleted later due to inactivity, but before that, your birth certificate had hosted a collab to work on your puffiest nightmare, made way before the Puff's Tale ending version you can find now. There were somewhere around 5 participants, being me, YBC, Unknown Meta, Lappy, and a user named Siva Funner at the time. Despite the audio being finished, the reason the rip never went up was because visuals for it were never made. However, around that time, Adum had been working on a mod for Puff's Tale, including modding the Omega Flowey fight. Adum and Malbavi had made sprite sheets for it, which you can find in the Your Puffiest Nightmare upload on the channel right now, as Menendo salvaged those sprite sheets for his mod.
Now, more about lore and reboot variant CocoBound. First off, the entire thing with being Cocoa Pops or Cocoa Krispies in the US really happened because Reese's Puffs needed a reboot alternative for this song. This song was some commercial from the 80s from the UK with a catchy tune, which I only found after finding some family rap. During the early moments of the reboot, I had planned a series of rips leading up to the first. When combined, the letters after 1, 2, 3 spelled out the word Pops, which alluded to Cocoa Pops, but only the ones where the letters P, O, and S were uploaded, as in the form of a video. Now onto the Cocoa Pops lore. This part in the lore wasn't really realized, but basically, the date and descriptions, 9th of September, delayed to the 30th of September, was linked to the lore. The idea was that Coco, the current mascot of Cocoa Pops, was evil, and that Pops, the monkey on the 1980 packaging, was the good guy. This then developed further than just a few mentions in the team server, however.
During a time where YBC got really bored and unmotivated to work on Puff's Tale, he decided to have it end with the final Pufflovania rip on April 3rd, 2018, his birthday. But as how stuff went down, he didn't even have the motivation to work on that rip, which basically put Puff's Tale in a hiatus, with occasional rips by people other than him. But around mid to end 2019, MLP Fun started making rips of it. This is probably what kickstarted the revival in the project to finish the OST of it, with Chicken, MLP Fun, YBC, and I as basically project leaders. We didn't really decide a real end date, but we at least wanted it done before the end of the channel, which at the time of planning was slated to be March 19th, the anniversary of Rock My Forum. Luckily we finished all the rips, including bonuses, but he originally wanted to end the rips with a sadly unfinished remastered version of Pufflovania, which unfortunately didn't get too far because of time constraints and lack of motivation.
I'll be honest. When I first scripted this, I there were a lot more unused albums, and we ended up releasing most of them. But a few miscellaneous albums that never really made progress were Reese's Rambunctious Root, which was just a JoJo Puff's Tale, a generic Undertale album. Puff's Tale and Undertale 2 were honestly just better. A Piano Roll album from one of the earliest jokes of the channel, which ended up just not sticking. And a few unused covers, including the very first and originally the only Volver album before we, decided to move past the initial end date. But it didn't end there. There was also Luigi's Spaghetti Stand, which I initially intended to be a daily running joke that, every day a Luigi Spaghetti Stand rip would be uploaded, and then after a few months we would compile an album. That ended up falling through mainly due to Luigi Spaghetti Stand falling through in general compared to our original plan, and that one was just ran poorly. I didn't publicly announce it, and I just asked people individually to send the rips, and I never finished that.
We had an idea for a kid-friendly event where Vaver would basically announce that he's rebranding the channel to be more appealing towards children. The channel was going to get renamed, and every channel name up to that point would have been modified to be more kid-friendly. The idea came up due to the channel recently having received multiple strikes around the time that YouTube started striking down videos that didn't meet with the new child-friendly guidelines. It ultimately ended up getting cancelled due to it constantly being put off in favor of other events.
Before we started uploading the final VVV rips, there were a wave of speedrun rips uploaded in light of AGDQ. This was originally going to be an event 6 months prior intended for SGDQ, but it didn't really get a lot of submissions and ended up just not getting popular, so we decided to just upload them near the end since there was a big gap of no uploads and it was relevant. Those rips almost just never got uploaded.
This idea came to be during a chat session in a general channel of the team server in 2018. We were just talking about the hilarity of Christian music parodies such as Baby Got Book and some songs like Rapping for Jesus. Eventually we all won a Christianity-based takeover, where we had rips with only Christian sources such as parodies and games based off Christianity, or that have references to Christianity.
This was my favorite cancelled project. We initially had the idea due to the Fake Out CCC episode featuring Pac-Man, and there were a lot of angry comments related to Volver, and then those kind of shifted onto the channel itself. The project only got about halfway done, and there were a lot of unclaimed stuff. Almost none of the audio got finished, and it just got irrelevant really fast. So we unfortunately decided to scrap it. However, here is what we salvaged from the project. Hope you enjoy.
Hey, can you do me a huge favor and stop sucking characters ditches?
I was expecting another beautiful episode of CCC, but instead I got Gaijin Boomba. I'm having a harder time keeping up with this channel.
Yeah, I love the CCC. Big goals.
What's happening for him? You know, I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Stop shipping my husband, that bro with Senegar. Senegar is already married to Beyond Good and Evil too.
Here he comes! Such you! I will never stupid this to the last episode! And then you make me shit! I'm, of course, not accepting, but to make work, he may have gone too far. He needs to be stopped. Let me Yes, fine.
In the development of the Predestined Fate Fusion collab, there were several parts or assets that went unused or rejected. Here's all that we could find.
When Pen Pineapple Apple Pen made a high-effort resurgence back in 2018, we planned to do a PPAP Fusion collab. Unlike the majority of FCs, this would simply consist of people saying the individual words of the famous PPAP song. Despite the general simplicity, the interest was low, and after the spreadsheet was made, there weren't any submissions. The project was eventually forgotten about and silently cancelled.
Another really early joke, if anyone even remembers Evolver's Bizarre Media Adventure, it was going to have a full series of 12 rips. 2 only ended up happening, mainly due to Throwback Week. That's the only reason the second one happened. And I was initially intending for the rips to come out slowly throughout the channel's lifespan, and it would eventually just end with post-credit scene or main theme, and that was just going to be like one of the finale rips. I just kind of forgot about it, to be honest. When I first started the channel, I didn't really expect it to blow up like it did. My original plan was to have a very fake-looking ending on April 1st, 2017, and the whole joke was that that was going to be the actual ending. This ended up not happening because the channel started to get popular, partially due to the Siva Gunner recognition, and I'll be honest, I'm glad it didn't end that early, because it honestly just turned out great.
Hi, I'm Kay, though I'm known better as Smog to most people. This will probably be kept short, since I only have one thing of mine to be shown in this video, but basically in the early days of the channel, I had introduced the Manky Kong joke, which was mostly an extent of one of my old dumb in-jokes, and I had been posting a lot of stuff involving that. Around the same time, there was a lot of Albert Softy, shoutouts to him by the way, jokes going around the channel, and I had made a thing called The Final Battle Albert Softy, which is pretty much a rudimentary animation of a bunch of PNGs of them fighting. A few months later, after the Vava reboot, I made Battle Theme 7 Grand Lanky, which is a sequel to that video with Mankey fighting Lanky Kong. This somewhat tied to the reboot since Lanky Kong was his replacement after that ended. Now, in January of 2018, I believe it was, I began working on a finale to this storyline, if you can call it that, to cap everything off. and I got fairly far, but midway through my computer died, and I never really had the motivation to finish it. I was also really into Star Wars at the time, so there was a lot of that stuff. Anyway, this is what I had finished.
Vaver fan sub. King for a Gay had a lot of content go unused or unsubmitted, like tracks, art, and victory themes. Here's all the content we could dig up from its history.
And this was the original lore villain. Yep. That's it.